Welcome to the show that teaches you the things your parents and teachers are too afraid to. The Heliosblog. Today, born-again girl appears on the whatever podcast. What could go wrong?
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
Okay.
Get it, girl.
All right. I don't even know where we were. Oh, we were okay, Ashley, right? So, okay. And curious, so you said you were born again. Do you consider yourself like born again?
What could go wrong?
Virgin or just born
Yeah,
again?
I mean, so physically, no, I'm not a virgin.
Okay.
But I recommitted to waiting till marriage, yes.
I see.
I know you love this. Yeah. Good for you.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, but you understand why. It's silly the kind of I'm a born again virgin, that there's a certain connotation that specific women like to use in order to essentially use that as a cope, right? Like, I mean, you realize that is, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying
No. But you said use it as a what?
Cope.
Oh,
a cope.
okay. No, like I don't expect for people to really, or men to look at me as like a true virgin. Like that's not reality.
Yeah, you do. It's actually, it's a classic case of, I've had my fun and now I'm ready to settle down. See me for who I really am now, like type of thing. And obviously, it's hilariously ridiculous that you would expect a person to accept you after you've made your bad decisions. It's like, no, they don't have to accept you after you've made your bad decisions. That's not their, prerogative. You do the bad thing, and then you expect them to pick up the pieces? Utterly ridiculous.
But spiritually, born again, yes, like I recommitted, so.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I know you understand, but yeah.
And I'm curious, do you have, a ministry?
I do.
Okay. And
oh, no.
Yeah. Andrew, I'll let you come in on this in just a moment. And so with your ministry, are you preaching to both men and women?
Of course.
I mean, I'm on YouTube.
Do as the priest says and not as the priest does.
So I say sis a lot, though. I think naturally I just geared towards women.
Woman.
But I get the whole women shouldn't be leaders and all that. And here's the thing. Naturally, I don't. When a woman is on stage, like as a pastor, I'm not against it. I know there's two different schools of thought when it comes to that. Biblically, I get that, but I believe that women still have a part in the church.
Sure.
They do. It's not at the head.
Well, Andrew, I'm not particularly religious, but, doing my own research, even as somebody who's not religious, my understanding of Christianity is that among all denominations, even Protestant, non-denominational, that is a heresy.
That's incorrect.
Heresy, yes, that's correct.
It's incorrect. Some denominations have split off, and they
I
have
think
different
even
doctrines.
Protestant, it's
well, but I'm saying, for example, the United, any church that says United, typically they have a more liberal view of things, and so they have.
Indeed.
Even Saddleback Church is technically part of the Southern Baptist Convention, and they now have allowed Rick Warren stepped down and.
Wait, do you have a ministry too?
Don't they all?
It's like Rollo Tomassi said in his book Rational Male Religion, right? Like in the United States, at least, the religions have become just fertility religions. The girls rule the roost, right? Because there's nothing there for men, so the men just left, and it's all about girls. All the men there are just losers, basically. Useful idiots for women.
Clarify what you mean by that. Clarify what you mean by that. Well, we were called to be ministers. Yeah, I mean,
The Great Commission.
I guess you could say that. To teach, yes, to heal and to cast out demons. Yes, I do. I do consider my. I'm really curious though. Why do you feel so let down? Isn't that the Great Commission? We're all disciples, right?
No, it's not.
So only men are disciples?
Yes.
No, that's not what I said. Chill out, and I'll explain it to you. When you get to the original apostles who became bishops in Christ's church, were any of them female?
Can I say something? Because I
Wait,
actually
let her
did study
answer.
this.
I didn't hear you. What?
The original apostles who became bishops, were any of them female?
No,
Why not?
I'm not sure.
It's actually not safe.
Nor
It
am
was
I
a
saying
safety
that
thing.
I need to be a preacher or I need to be a pastor. I'm just a witness. I am.
Yeah, but what did
disciple
Paul
creating
say? What
disciples.
did Paul say about women leading in the church? What did Paul say?
He said,
About
don't do
us
it.
being quiet. Is that what you're
He
talking
said
about?
no. He said specifically in multiple places that women were not allowed to have leadership positions in the church. Now, when you're talking about a woman's part in the church, I don't disagree. I think that women do have a very important role in the church. It's just not as clergy, and it's never been as
right.
clergy.
I'm not against that. Like,
Right.
I'm not here wanting to be a pastor.
Except you are. Who cares what you say? The actions.
I hold Bible study. That's because
my
there's
And it's
Lord.
really,
It's
it was
just-
really supposed to be a protective measure.
Let her finish.
and
Let
I
her
don't
finish.
create the curriculum. I go based off of a pastor's curriculum, a church curriculum that's handed and passed down to us. And so it's not, to me, I'm really just holding space with other, as a disciple, as a witness with other disciples that are looking to get in the Word of God, to talk about God. But I don't need to be on stage doing altar calls at a church.
Yeah. So a priest is an embodiment of Christ on earth, and Christ embodied as a male.
You do have
That's
a
why.
warm sense.
That's why. I mean,
about
that's
you.
so women cannot be the embodiment of Christ. That would be men only. That is the
We are
Christian
part
way.
of
That's
the
not
church.
actually what the doctrine was ever even about. But just
How do you know?
FYI, because I studied all of this.
You did? Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was the first synod?
The
when
whole
they discussed
principle.
this, tell me what it's called.
The whole principle of women not
No,
speaking
that's
in
not my
church
question.
had nothing to do with the fact that women didn't embody fully Christ or God. It was a protective measure because men like you are assholes, and it's a protective measure.
Yes, exactly. Men are buttholes. Very good. Ad hominem attacks.
So that
let's
men
not-
would speak in public. I'm just saying. I mean, you don't have to take
I'm
it personally.
just-
Yeah,
it is
but,
what it
okay,
is.
just avoid ad hominem attacks.
Okay,
please.
so
I don't care. She
because
can
we
use it.
live in a
Doesn't hurt my feelings.
patriarchal society and the Bible was written in a patriarchal society
Here
to
we
protect
go.
women,
Womanist.
it's a protective measure. Men
Womanist.
don't listen to women. It's much better if the woman goes to her own partner, her own husband, her own brother, who's the minister,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
gives the message to him of what's on her heart. And he filters it through his man speak, whatever you want to say, and he goes and presents it before the men.
Can you tell that she's a hateful shrew? Or is it just me? Yeah. Sorry, kiddo, you're a hateful shrew.
That way he takes the flack on himself for it, so she doesn't have to deal with that emotionally. It's a protective measure. Women are very sensitive emotionally. We were not made to handle all these criticisms coming at us. That was supposed to be the setup. It was never supposed to be we're not equal to, we're not worthy, we don't have
seconds.
important things to
10
say. It wasn't supposed to be that way. The patriarchy got
Okay.
convoluted.
Oh
So I'm gonna try
my
this again.
lord, how many womanist talking points can you throw in 1 minute?
And I'll just ask you the same question. Maybe you
Womanist
can answer
robot,
it.
go.
Did Jesus Christ embody as a man or a woman?
Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
He embodied as a man and came to tell us that all of us have the same
Okay, so he
power
embodied.
as
He
him.
embodied.
And
he
I'm
embodied-
embodying
What?
Christ consciousness
Did
now
she just say everybody has the same power as him? Is she like on another planet or what?
as a woman.
How come he didn't embody as a woman?
Because he just answered that particular call and he happened to have a penis born to him. I have a vagina and I have the same
He
call.
just happened. He could have been.
I'm a woman. Hear me roar.
He just happened. God just happened to
I
only
believe
pick the male
because of
form.
the nature
there was
of
no
the
actual
time,
messaging behind that.
It was
there was
very
no reason
dangerous for
that. He
women
just-
to
he
live
just
back
wanted
then.
to.
It was
Okay,
very
I have a
dangerous for
question.
women to live back then.
I have a
It wouldn't
question.
have
Go
worked.
ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Well,
So-
hang on.
Wait,
I just want to make
Andrew
sure that we're clear on
responded.
this. Very quickly. You think that Christ embodied as a man just because it was fun? It was funsies for him?
No, because it was the safest way for a
The guy
person
who
with
got
that gifting.
crucified, it was the safest way.
It was, because if he was a woman, he wouldn't have made it past 12.
Answer 2 plus 2, please shut the fuck up.
This is wild. I've never heard any. I mean, this is. You don't even have a grounding epistemology for this. So, what is your actual epistemology for church doctrine?
It's all womanist talking points.
Who are you to ask?
You don't even know what I just said. Like, I don't. You don't even know what I just said. What is your epistemology for church doctrine?
Do you know what Jesus came to promote?
Okay, let's stop.
I can't wait to hear what he came. What did he come to promote?
I asked you. What do you believe Jesus came here to
Christ
promote?
came to give us a church. He said so himself.
Christ
He
said
came to give us a church.
the body
yes.
is the church. The body. The body is
I'm
the
sorry,
church.
what now?
The body. The body.
The body what?
Is the church. So therefore, this is the church.
You're making a word concept fallacy because you don't have any grounding epistemology. So you don't really understand what you're talking about. You've heard the term that we make up the body of
Let
the
me
church.
ask you
But
something.
a marriage, for instance, is a representation of Christ being the head of that church and you being the body of the church. That's why the man is in the leadership role inside of that union. So if that's the case, then he must have embodied as a man for a reason. So what is your grounding epistemology?
A better question.
He doesn't know what the word epistemology is, so you're playing chess with a pigeon.
Do you even know what epistemology means? Can you just start with that? Can you tell me what that means?
I will answer your questions when you answer this question.
Just answer. What does epistemology mean?
I'm not answering your question.
You don't know what it means.
I had a question for you.
You have no idea what it even means.
I need to understand the frame of mind that you're in, so I have to ask you some clarifying questions.
The word
Do you
is the
agree?
word.
Yeah, if you don't know what epistemology means, it's not a shot against you. I'll tell you what it means. You just need to be honest and say, Andrew, I don't know what it means, and I'll just tell you.
You just need to be honest and say, I don't want to answer your question, Desiree, because it might bring up something that I don't want to deal
I've
with.
been sitting here answering them.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah, but first answer. Do you know what epistemology means or not?
No, I'm not answering.
Indeed. I assert my Fifth Amendment rights. Filibuster.
Unless you're answering my question.
Andrew, just here. Ask your question.
This is just wild. Okay.
Ask your question, then Andrew gets to ask his. He'll answer yours. You'll answer his. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do you have some sort of problem with seeing yourself as the current embodiment of God?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the problem?
Well, it depends on how you mean embodiment. That's why I'm asking about
So, for example, you
epistemology,
said you're in a marriage.
Yeah, so the
right?
example is I would say that a priest would be an embodiment as in...
So, but you told me, you said yourself...
Hold on, let him finish.
Trying to answer your question. So I would see a priest as a representation or an embodiment, I think, in the context you're using it. That's what I would see as an embodiment. Hang on, let me finish the answer. That's what I would see as an embodiment. Now, I just answered your question specifically. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
We'll get
She
right
has
to
to
it.
figure out your frame of mind, Andrew, so she can figure out how much to charge you in order to answer your
Totally
question.
true. Totally true.
Now, I just answered your question. Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles.
That was hilarious! Oh my... Oh man.
That's the simplest way to say it.
That was hilarious.
I mean, you can give me your definition. But this guy told me that a husband and wife is supposed to be the representation of God in the church.
Lord,
He said he's
you're
a
an idiot.
husband. I asked him if he sees himself as the embodiment of God, and he said no. That doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what is the epistles?
The epistles are The apostles. Are you talking about the apostles?
What can you you use the word epistles? What are the epistles?
He said, what is epistemology?
Yeah, no, what are the epistles? You said you used the word epistles.
Right? Are you talking about the apostles? Just say it in common language.
Yeah, Andrew,
just say you don't know.
Epistemology is just the study of how we know knowledge.
Okay, well.
That's what it means. It has nothing to do with epistles. What are you talking about? When I'm asking for your grounding epistemology, I'm asking, where do you get your grounding foundation for the knowledge you know? That's important when we're talking about theology, because, hang on, it's important when we're talking about our grounding for theology, that we would call that grounding epistemology.
Why are we getting into this?
Anyways, you had something. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see. No, and then let's redirect. Let's muddy the waters. You can't get into a logical debate with a smart guy because you're an idiot.
Ashley, go ahead.
What I was gonna say is I agree with you, Andrew. Like, I believe that there are roles that are in leadership that are for men, but the way I look at my ministry or what I do is like the woman at the well when she met Jesus and Jesus called her out and basically told her past, and she had an encounter with Jesus, and then it says in the Bible that she went out and started telling the world like what happened, and she started talking about Jesus, and that's the same framework I'm in. And another, like, let's take away the podcast that I do, which is just sitting down talking to people about their testimony with God. I have a ministry.
It's a subjective experience.
Offline, where it's just going to go meet the needs of seniors and then showing them the love of God. I mean, to me.
So that is just virtue signaling. Cool.
Why would that only be for men?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about maybe things like I do Bible study with other girls, or I do kind of outreach or something like that.
Yeah, outreaches and stuff like that.
I think that might be different than having a position of church authority. And that's what we're talking about when we're talking about women in leadership roles. Right. So
And I agree with that.
Hang on. And when we're talking about ministry, I think it depends, because I think that if you have a ministry, it depends on the context. Are you in a church leadership role because you've created your own church? That's where we start to kind of dive into, are you clergy or not, right?
Right. Yeah, no, so I'm submitted under a church, and any of the Bible study content that I get is from the church that are from males.
I do have to move things on. You also wanted to talk about, so you're sex out of marriage, so I assume you're waiting until marriage, is that correct?
Yes, I recommitted to waiting for marriage. Okay.
And recommitment with a faith-based foundation, feminism is a scam. Well, I don't know if there's much to go on in terms of the sex out of marriage stuff, but it's my understanding that prior to you being born again, prior to you finding Christ, you were having sex out of marriage. Is that correct?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
All right, and that's a new and the current guy you're dating, are you guys aligned on that? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. You do have a disagreement with the show. You said, I miss the times where there would be other men on the podcast that would hold higher, respectable, masculine energy. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, actually, Andrew's not doing too bad today. I feel like he's not having a tone where it's just so degrading and like talking to everybody like we're stupid. But I feel like before you guys would have like Michael Knowles or just other leaders that would just be able to give their input, and it was very valuable, and they would teach stuff. And again, Andrew, you're doing great. Nothing against you, but I just miss when there was more male figures, because I think it adds to the conversation to where we're able to have more perspective from instead of just a bunch of girls.
Can I kind of give you my counter here, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course.
I tend to match energy with people, right? So if, like you saw the gal over here, she called me an asshole, right? I hadn't said anything to her. I didn't call her any names, nothing like that. We were in the middle of having an exchange, we were in the middle of having an argument. But the reason she said that is because she didn't like my tone, right? There's a lot of tone policing that happens with women. I don't like how you're saying a thing, right? It upsets me how the thing's being said, not necessarily what's being said.
Yeah.
And so I tend to match energy. So when you and I are having the conversation, honestly, we're having an intellectual exchange, and okay, hang on a second. Let this go through.
No, you're good. It's under the threshold.
So if we're having that exchange, I'm really just kind of interested in the worldview and the data, right? So the way I think of it is, you're trying to give me the information. You're trying to dump the information. You got X amount of time on this podcast. You're trying to get that information out of your mouth as fast as possible. And I'm trying to hit you with questions. And the reason is because I want to get more info, right? As much as I can get, so I have a good overview of the things you think before we can start the exchange. So sometimes what will happen is I'll cut a person off and say, wait, you got to back up because I want to get to this wider idea so I understand your worldview better. Now, people who are experienced in debate and they're experienced in discourse understand that that's necessary, or else we can't really have kind of that overview, overarching discourse that you want. But what you've seen, and even tonight, right, if a woman becomes a bitch, if she starts acting like a bitch, then I'll match that energy and treat them exactly how they're treating me back, right? That's what I'll do. So the thing is, though, is that as long as you are not doing that, why would I do it? Why would I do it to you?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times in those clips, that's what it seems like, but you miss kind of this critical context of the build up to it.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I'm not gonna get too comfortable. I feel like the second half of the show, once you get all the information, that's when you start coming at us. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sometimes, but the thing is it, like, again, it just misses kind of key context, right?
Yeah.
I usually only match energy.
But it's so fun. It's so fun to do it that way.
Okay.
I mean, I agree. I'm fine with that.
Andrew likes the blood sports debates. Okay, so moving on to...
And remember, think of it, too, like a sign of respect, right? I don't think of you as less than me, which is why I treat you exactly how I would treat a man who is sitting exactly where you were. I mean, that I couldn't think of a better way to show respect than that.
Andrew does go hard on the dudes. On the dudes.
And that's the only reason I was.
You should have
hard on
seen
him.
what he did to Wes Watson.
No, I don't.
Andrew,
That's not what happened there. It's funny that she thinks you can just tell, like, just not that intelligent. You can just tell. Do I need to explain why? It's like 100 IQ versus 130 IQ.
Honestly, I have nothing against you. I think it's fun. I think it's fun,
No,
Andrew.
don't.
It was not a personal thing. It's just
You're
locker room
mad.
talk. It's like,
Yeah.
let's
No,
get
it's
together,
not.
shoot the shit.
Debate is fun.
It's fun. I don't give a shit. I don't have to go home and fuck you.
Stop it. Get some help.
going to you. And
Is that to me?
How do you pronounce your name? It's Keshwan. Keshwan. Have you ever dated the white guy? Just curious.
I went on a date with my first white guy like 2 months ago.
And is this the guy who you told me about in the pre-show notes? The whole stomach licking thing?
Oh no! So
okay, that's somebody else.
no. So there was a guy I dated back in 2020. It was on our first date. He was also into fitness. So the first date was to go to the gym. So right when we got to the gym, the moment we got there, I noticed that this girl across the way, she's very pretty. And then he noticed her and he's like, "Oh, you thought you were the only one, huh?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Look at her butt." And I was like, "Ew. Are you really checking out a girl right in front of me?"
Well done. Great first date.
That's how you
It's
play.
not even done yet. And then while we were working out, I got sweaty, so he licked my stomach.
Oh.
And then he was telling me about his penis size.
Was it sexy? Like,
I mean, he was attractive, so that's why I
And she still slept with him.
wasn't like, "Oh my god!" But it was just a bad first date.
Yeah.
And then I
my
didn't talk to him after that.
God.
Wait, so he just kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Right, like
fucking
take
disgusting.
a class. Take a dating 101.
And then literally after him, I didn't date for 2 years.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness.
Damn. Okay.
Because
Alpha widowed like that.
of his licking of your sweat.
That is so gross.
And you were also recently talking to a guy, and you found out he lives in your building with his...
Oh yeah. So there was a guy that I was talking to through one of the dating apps, and he told me he wanted something serious. He wanted monogamy, and he didn't have any kids. He wanted kids. And then we had like a taco thing that happened on our complex by the pool, and I saw him in the pool with his kids, with his girl right there.
Oh my gosh,
on our
that
complex.
recently happened to me.
This
too.
is why I recommend the way I do things. To be honest,
Wait,
It
what is the way you do things?
just how you shoot it straight with guys and you put them through these tests of
not
their
being straight.
character.
You need to test them. You
But
just need to,
I'm telling you, they're
communication
playing
and
harder
transparency.
games on us, ladies. That's the only
No, they're not. The only guys you choose are the ones that do that.
way to be safe in this society. To be honest, you have to give them a dose of their own medicine. Honestly,
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be
Or treat
it
someone
is.
the
It
way you wanna
fucking
be
sucks.
treated.
That's why I would.
Again, like pasta, potty mouth, idiots, like Guys, just because she's blonde doesn't mean you need to choose her.
I'd love to see it change. But until it does...
Nick, come on, Nick.
It's
Come
okay.
on,
My
Nick.
kids, I have 3 kids. They hate me too. So
So
it's fine.
you had, let's see, going back to you, maybe I'll wait on the polygamy thing when she's back. You said your best friend is a guy, and we've
Yes.
been friends for 16 years, and you think that...
Disaster.
Oh, you disagree that it's not possible to be
Yeah.
best friends with a straight guy?
Yeah, because me and my friend Corey, like, we've been friends literally since we were 14. We've never once kissed. We don't even hug each other. We think it.
Yeah, he wants to bang you.
I don't want to say the word, but we think it's like gross to even hug each other. We hugged each other one time in our whole friendship, and that was when we were on Fear Factor. And we moved on to the next round. We were excited.
Oh, you were on Fear Factor.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
When I was 23.
Wait,
Not
and
a
does
red
he have a girlfriend?
No, he doesn't.
Okay,
I don't know
that's
if you're
why.
I don't know if you're down to try this out. Would you be willing to text him right now and be like, "Hey, listen, I've been
Thinking about you.
we can figure out the precise way to actually
That's fine.
Like, but I think I've got feelings for you. Do you
like
feel
to
the same
see
way?
his
What was the
come
thing,
over.
Maddie? What was the way that we figured this? What was the best phrasing for this question?
So complicated. We just told a girl to text him and be like, "Oh, like, do you want to hang out and snuggle?"
That'd be
Have you
fucking
ever
disgusting.
thought about being more? Would you be down?
Yeah, I see him as my brother. He's my brother.
Would you be down to text him?
I can.
Does he
gonna-
know you're on here though?
You see him that way. Does he see you that way? Is the question. Okay, we'll continue this. But anyway, we're going to end this video here, but we'll continue this in a bit. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit all the notifications, drop me a donation like Hunter M, Adrian, Tom and Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, Andrew, and Alan. Shout outs to you. Most recent purchaser of Strategist Guide to Seduction. Thank you. Go buy my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. If you'd like my early access content, that's on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/theheliosblog. And if you'd like me to give you good advice, better than these girls ever could, great. Just message me at theheliosblog@gmail.com. That's my email, and I'll slot you right in. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.